There will come a time in your life when the storm doesn't give you a warning. It doesn't ask if you're ready, it just crashes in. The call you never thought would come, the betrayal you hoped you'd never face, the struggle you prayed would pass you by. But it shows up anyway. And in that moment, your strength isn't found in how loud you speak, but in how still you can stand when everything around you starts falling apart. Pain has a way of stealing your breath, blurring your vision, and shaking your core. But hear this, strength isn't about the absence of pain. It is born right in the middle of it. It takes root when everything says you should give up, but you don't. It rises when the tears won't stop, but you still wipe your face, lift your chin, and move forward. You may be exhausted, but you're not done. You may feel shattered, but you're not defeated. You fought too hard to let this moment erase everything you've become. The world may not see it yet, but there is something inside you that no fire, no failure, and no force can put out. You are stronger than this moment. Now is the time to remember who you are. There comes a point when you've cried every tear you thought you had and sat in silence long enough to hear your own heartbeat echo in the dark. In that quiet space, a question rises. What now? That is when purpose begins to speak. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. Pain may scream, but purpose whispers. Most people miss that whisper because they are too caught up in what hurt them to remember what drives them. You don't find strength just by pushing through. You find it when you stop asking why me and start asking what now. Your purpose is not destroyed by pain. Often it is revealed through it. The thing you thought was breaking you may actually be shaping you for something greater. But only if you stay anchored in it. Only if you choose to let your life mean more than your wounds. Pain speaks in a loud voice. It tells you that you're done, that you're stuck, that you're not enough. It shows up wearing shame, fear, and regret. And if you don't have something deeper holding you steady, pain will take the lead. And pain always leads to the pit. But purpose leads to power. You have to decide. Will what broke you define you, or will it refine you? Do not let a passing moment of suffering erase the lifetime of potential that lives within you. The real enemy of your purpose isn't your weakness. It is forgetting why you began in the first place. Real strength is not proven when everything is easy. It shows up when the storm hits and you are still standing. Even if you are shaking, you are still standing. There will be seasons when you are the only one who understands your vision. Days when even you start to doubt it. That is when you remind yourself this is bigger than how you feel right now. Feelings come and go. Pain fades. Purpose remains. It holds you when motivation leaves. It keeps your head above water when your heart feels heavy. You are not waking up every day just to survive. You are waking up to become someone who leads, inspires, and makes an impact. That requires grit. That requires pain. That requires lonely nights, hidden tears, and silent battles. But it also brings peace. It brings fire. It brings clarity that comfort could never offer. When your life is anchored in purpose, the wind may shake you, but it cannot break you. I know some of you are carrying heavy things. You've held them for so long they feel like part of you. But listen closely. Your pain is not who you are. It is part of your journey, but not the ending. Don't get so tied to what hurt you that you miss what's ahead of you. If you stay stuck in the pain, you will live it over and over. But if you root yourself in your purpose, the pain will not drown you, it will drive you. Every scar you carry has meaning, not just because of what it cost, but because of what it taught. If you are brave enough to look closely, you will see that your scars are not weakness. They are proof that you survived what tried to take you out. And that is power. When life cuts deep, you get two choices. Bleed out in bitterness or bind that wound with belief. Belief in your future, belief in your purpose, belief that this moment is not where your story ends. You have been through too much to quit now. And if no one else told you today, hear me clearly. There is still something in you worth fighting for. You have a gift, you have a light, And even if it is dim right now, it is not gone. It just needs your care. It needs your protection. Don't let the darkness convince you that your light was a lie. The very presence of that darkness is proof your light is real and that something is trying to silence it. But you were never meant to stay quiet. You were made to shine. People won't always get your path. Some will walk away when you're low. Some will laugh at the dreams you're chasing. Let them. Their approval is not your purpose. Their acceptance is not your foundation. You have to reach a place in your spirit where you stop waiting for permission to live with intention. Because the longer you wait for validation, the more power you hand over to others. People who never walked through your pain, who didn't stay up with you in the midnight hours when quitting seemed easier than holding on. They didn't hear your cries, they didn't see the breaking points, and they don't get to decide what you're capable of. Purpose isn't handed to you by others. It was placed in you long before you knew what purpose even meant. And if it was placed there by something greater than you, then nothing outside of you can take it away unless you allow it. Every day is a chance to choose who you are and who you're becoming. Because often the greatest fight is the one between the broken version of yourself and the one that's rising. You'll want to retreat. You'll want to hide. You'll want to numb the pain and forget the dream. But comfort never grows anything. You weren't made to stay safe. You were made to be significant. So when fear shows up, you don't run. You stand in it. You breathe through it. You fight because your purpose is more important than your fear. That's where strength begins. Not in being fearless, but in taking the next step while your hands are still shaking. You might feel afraid. That's all right. Be afraid and keep walking. Be unsure and still move forward. Just don't stop. Pain will challenge you. It will demand an answer. It will peel back the surface and expose what's real. That's not a punishment. That's preparation. The next level of your life won't arrive wrapped in comfort. It will come through pressure, resistance, and moments that stretch you to your limit. But don't mistake that pressure for punishment. What feels heavy today might be the very thing forming the strength you'll need tomorrow. Purpose always comes with a process, and most give up halfway because they think strength should feel good. But strength is not a feeling, it's a choice. It's showing up when you feel empty. It's staying when the fire gets hot, because in that fire something new is forming. You can't skip that. You have to walk through it. Purpose doesn't wait to be discovered while you sit still. It's found in the pursuit. It needs you to be present. It demands a mindset that says, no matter what comes, I'm moving forward. That's strength. Not loud, not attention-seeking, just steady, just real. There is a quiet kind of power in someone who simply refuses to quit. They may bend, but they will not break, because their foundation isn't built on applause or approval. It's built on meaning, and meaning keeps you grounded. It keeps you going when everything else feels like it's fading. If your fire is low, return to your why. Go back to the beginning. Go back to the version of you who believed before life taught you to doubt. That flame is still there. It just needs your permission to rise again. So when the darkness comes, and it will, you face it. You tell it that it won't have the final word. Not today, not ever. You let yourself feel the pain, but you don't let it lead you. You carry the wisdom, not the shame. If you have to bleed, bleed. If you have to cry, cry. But never stop, because you know who you are, and you know why you're here. You are not defined by what you lost. You are defined by what you choose to become. And every time you wake up and choose strength, you take one more step toward the life that was meant for you. Every setback is setting up your return. Every rejection is making space for the right yes. Every delay is part of something greater unfolding. You might be shaken, but you are not removed from your purpose, because you are rooted, you are grounded, you know who you are. And that is enough. There is a voice inside you no one else hears. And that voice holds the most power in your life. Not because it's always right, but because you believe it without hesitation. It tells you what's possible. It tells you what you're worth. It tells you who you are, and if you don't guide it, it will guide you. Left unchecked, that voice will echo every fear, every failure, and every lie you've ever heard. So take it back, speak truth over it, and let that voice align with the power and purpose you were born to walk in. It will replay the moments that broke you, the ones that humiliated you, the ones that left scars you still carry. And if you're not intentional, you'll begin to live by a story written by pain instead of by purpose. You can't afford to let your inner voice run wild, because if you don't check it, you'll start to believe it. And once you believe it, you'll start to live like it's true. Most people aren't defeated by what's happening around them, but by what's happening within them. The real battle is not on the outside. The real war is in the mind. And if that voice in your head is filled with doubt, comparison, insecurity, and shame, then everything you do will reflect that energy. You'll push away good things. You'll question love. You'll minimize your worth because you've accepted the lie that you're not enough. But hear this clearly. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind those thoughts. You have the power to hear that inner voice and still choose not to follow it. You don't have to accept every lie your mind offers you. You can retrain how you speak to yourself, and that matters. Because the way you speak to yourself is the way you lead yourself. When your self-talk is toxic, your future gets trapped. You can dream of progress, but if your thoughts keep dragging you into the past, you'll never move. Every time you take a step forward, that voice might try to remind you of your last failure. Every time you begin to believe, it might bring up old doubts, past mistakes, and rejections. And unless you learn to talk back, you'll stay stuck. You have to speak life over yourself, even when everything inside you is shouting something else. You have to look yourself in the eyes and call yourself strong, even when you feel weak. You have to declare that you are worthy, even when the world tries to say otherwise. The words you speak over yourself shape the world you walk in, and it all starts on the inside. It doesn't matter how much support surrounds you if you don't believe in yourself. You can have opportunity, praise, and love all around you and still stay stuck if your internal dialogue keeps telling you you're not enough. That voice you hear isn't the truth. It's a broken echo from a time you didn't know your worth. But you do now. So stop letting old lies shape your future. Take your voice back. You get to decide what lives in your mind. If it doesn't serve you, lift you, or grow you, remove it. No more rehearsing past pain. No more playing out worst-case scenarios in your head. From this moment on, speak to yourself with the same truth, strength, and love you'd give to someone you care about. And yes, it may feel difficult. For years, that inner critic held the mic. It became your default, always ready to say, "I told you so," when something went wrong. But that critic wasn't speaking truth. It was just repeating what it knew. And anything repeated often enough can start to feel real, even if it never was. The good news is, your mind can change. You can choose new thoughts. You can practice speaking peace, power, clarity, and courage. It might feel uncomfortable at first. That's just your mind adjusting. Keep going. Build a new voice for yourself, word by word, affirmation by affirmation, truth by truth. Pay attention to your tone. Ask yourself if you would ever speak to your child, your friend, or your loved one the way you speak to yourself. If not, something needs to change. You can't shame yourself into greatness. You can't tear yourself down and expect to grow. You need compassion, you need encouragement, you need grace. Give that to yourself. Be gentle when you fall. Be kind in your struggles. Be bold in your self-respect. Let the voice in your head become your coach, not your critic. Let it lift you instead of weigh you down. This doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means speaking the full truth, not just the part that hurts. Yes, you have flaws, but you also have strength. Yes, you've made mistakes, but you've also overcome. Your inner dialogue can be your prison or your passport. If it's filled with fear and doubt, it will keep you stuck. But if it's filled with faith and hope, it will take you places you never imagined. I'm telling you right now, if you shift the way you speak to yourself, everything around you will begin to shift too. People spend their lives waiting for external change, not realizing the power has been in their own voice all along. Speak peace, and you'll live with peace. Speak strength, and you'll carry power. Speak forgiveness, and you'll finally be free. Your words are seeds. So what are you planting in the garden of your mind? Because whatever you keep watering in your thoughts will eventually grow in your life. Sometimes you have to get bold with it, not on the outside, but deep within. When that inner voice says you can't do this, you answer with, "Watch me." When it whispers that you're not enough, you remind it that you are chosen, you are capable, you are becoming. And when it tells you you're too late, you declare that you are right on time for your destiny. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about standing so firmly on truth that nothing can shake you. You are not a prisoner of your past thoughts. You are the author of your present mindset. It is time to take back your narrative, rewrite the way you speak to yourself. Take the microphone from the lies and hand it over to your purpose. Speak with intention, speak with clarity, speak with the confidence of someone who knows who they are and refuses to stay where they were. You do not have to wait until you feel strong to speak strong. Sometimes the strength comes after the words. Life and death are in the power of your tongue, and it begins with the quiet moments, the ones when no one else is around. When you are lying in bed, tears in your eyes, staring into the darkness, wondering how you will make it through another day. That is when what you whisper to yourself matters most. That is when you say, "I may be down, but I am not defeated. I may be tired, but I am not finished. I may be hurting, but healing is already in motion." Say it, believe it. Keep breathing truth into yourself until your spirit starts to rise again. That is how warriors are made, word by word, thought by thought. If you want to stay strong in any season, master the one battle that follows you everywhere, your own mind. Because if you win that battle, everything else starts to fall into place. Once you learn to speak life into your own soul, no outside voice can take that away. You become solid. You become steady. You become someone who walks into chaos and brings calm. Someone who enters storms with peace. Someone who faces doubt with quiet confidence. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. That strength has always been inside you. It has just been waiting for your voice to rise up and match it. And now that you know, it is time to use it. There will be times when your heart feels like it has been shattered into pieces so small they do not even look familiar anymore. When the weight of loss, betrayal, rejection, or failure feels like it is pressing down on your chest and stealing your breath. In those moments, showing up feels like the hardest thing in the world. You want to disappear. You want to run away from everything, even yourself. But hear this clearly. Those are the moments that shape you. Not the easy ones, not the applause, not the victories, the broken ones. Because showing up while you are bleeding takes a kind of strength that rarely gets seen. A strength that is not flashy, not loud, but deep and lasting. You do not wait until you feel whole to keep going. You move anyway. You fight anyway. You rise anyway. There is power in simply standing when everything in you wants to collapse. There is courage in facing the world when your soul wants to shut it out completely. And do not ever believe that being broken makes you weak. Your brokenness is proof that you have lived, that you have loved, that you have hoped, that you have dared. The ones with scars are the ones who have been through the fire. And the fact that you are still here, still breathing, still trying, that makes you extraordinary. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to have it all together. Just show up, bruised, messy, hurting, but present. That alone is powerful. In a world that tells you to be quiet about your pain, it is a revolution to speak truth. People will say, take time to heal. And yes, rest is necessary. But do not confuse healing with hiding. Do not confuse waiting with quitting. Healing happens when you move. You have to get up even when you are limping. You have to take the next step even when your legs are shaking. Because healing is not passive, it is active. And every time you show up broken, you remind your pain that it does not have the final say. You tell the storm that you are still here. You tell the shame that it has no hold on your voice. You tell the fear that it may visit, but it does not get to stay. That is what showing up broken does. It returns your power. And some days it may look like a whisper. Other days it may look like a roar. But either way, you show up. You do not have to wait to be whole to be worthy. This world will try to convince you that you have to look perfect, feel strong, smile constantly. But that is not strength. That is performance. Real strength is choosing to keep going, even when you do not feel ready. Real strength is showing up real. True strength is found in showing up as you are. It's walking into a new day while the tears from last night still linger on your face. It's choosing to work, love your family, and chase your dreams even when your heart is still trying to heal. It's making that call when you don't feel like speaking. It's praying when your faith feels weak and barely holding on. That is not failure. That is real. That is human. And that is exactly where your power lives. Not in the polished moments, but in the raw ones. You are allowed to be both hurting and hopeful. You are allowed to feel like you are in pieces and still move forward with intention. Never underestimate the courage it takes to face life while feeling broken. It is easy to show up when things are smooth. But the ones who keep showing up when everything feels like it is falling apart, they are the quiet champions. They might not get recognition, they might not be celebrated, but heaven sees them, and their future self will thank them. Because showing up broken teaches you lessons wholeness never could. It reveals the strength of your spirit, the depth of your resilience, and the truth of your identity. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. You stop waiting for the pain to end. You say, "This is who I am right now, and I'm showing up anyway." That is freedom. That is healing. That is transformation. You are not disqualified by your brokenness. You are being shaped by it. The cracks in your soul are not signs of failure. They are the places where the light gets in, where grace enters, where empathy is born. Because the ones who have tasted sorrow, who have walked through pain and disappointment, they are the ones who carry wisdom. They lead with compassion. They connect on a deeper level. So do not hide your brokenness. Do not wait to be perfect before you live fully. The world does not need more filters or masks. It needs your truth, your courage, your story. Being broken does not mean the end. It means you are alive. It means your story is still unfolding, filled with fire, determination, and unshakable spirit. You have cried through nights no one saw. You have made it through days you thought would break you. And yet, here you are. Maybe tired, maybe scarred, maybe uncertain, but still here. That matters more than you know. That is evidence of your strength. And even if you feel like there is nothing left in you, even if each breath feels heavy, keep going. One moment at a time, one step at a time. Show up for your healing, for your future, for the story that is still being written with your name on it. You do not need to sprint. You do not need to run. Just keep moving. Crawl if you must. Whisper if you cannot speak. But do not stop. Every step you take while broken becomes a monument to your strength. There will be people who do not understand. People who ask why you are still trying, still believing, still pushing forward after all you've been through. Let them ask. They are not built like you. They do not carry your vision. They have not heard your prayers. They do not know what still burns in your chest. So do not wait for their approval. Do not look for their permission. Keep showing up with your pain, with your hope, with your relentless drive. Because that persistence will turn into breakthrough. That pain will become purpose. That brokenness will become testimony. And the world will witness what was being built in the fire all along. You are being reshaped, refined, and renewed through every tear, every battle, every sleepless night. As painful as it feels, this breaking is not the end. It is the beginning of a deeper, stronger, freer version of you. One who is not driven by other people's opinions. One who has nothing to prove and everything to live for. One who walks with quiet confidence because they have been tested by life and have chosen to rise. That version of you is on the way. And the only way to meet them is to keep showing up, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. The ones who rise while still healing are not just survivors. They are lights in the dark, so keep going. Because your breakthrough will not come from perfection. It will be born through your persistence. There will be times when life feels like it is collapsing all at once. The sky grows dark, the winds rage, and nothing beneath your feet feels steady. That is the storm. And most people wait it out. They pause their lives, hide from the chaos, and hope that things will clear before they move forward again. But let me ask you something honest. What if the storm does not pass quickly? What if the rain keeps coming? What if the winds do not calm? You cannot afford to sit on the sidelines of your life waiting for calm before you begin. You cannot wait for the storm to end before you take your next step. Growth doesn't happen when everything is calm. It begins in the middle of chaos. It is built under pressure. It is shaped in the storm. That pain you feel, that fear surrounding you, it is not your enemy. It is your teacher. The storm is trying to introduce you to a version of yourself you have not met yet. But you will never meet that version if you stay stuck, frozen, waiting for comfort before you take the next step. You have to grow in it, not after it, not around it, right in the thick of it. Every strong tree has one thing in common: it survived storms. The roots went deep because they had to. The bark grew thick because it needed protection. The branches still reached toward the sky even after the winds tried to tear them down. That's you. You are that tree. This storm you're facing isn't here to break you. It's here to deepen you. Strength is not built by running from the battle. It grows when you stay in it. Resilience doesn't come from waiting for the pain to stop. It comes from standing tall while it still hurts. Wisdom isn't gained by avoiding failure. It's earned every time you rise again. So stop waiting for the storm to pass. Stop waiting for the timing to feel perfect. Stop waiting for the world to calm down before you chase what is burning in your heart. Life won't hand you perfect conditions. You have to claim your next level anyway. Dig deep even when the winds are howling. Understand that pressure is not punishment. It is preparation. Diamonds form under pressure. Steel is made in fire. And character is forged in storms. You may be asking why now, why this, and the answers might feel unclear in the chaos. But later, when you look back, you'll see that storm taught you to pray with more focus, to love more fully, to fight with more wisdom, to appreciate peace more deeply, and to walk away from what was no longer serving you. Storms reveal. They show you what was weak. They tear down what wasn't built to last. But they also water the seeds you've planted. They refresh the soil. They bring new life. And in this moment, you are not being buried. You are being planted. The people who rise highest in life are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who learned to walk through fire and came out with their soul intact. They took every storm and let it grow their faith, sharpen their discipline, and deepen their roots. You cannot become who you were meant to be without struggle. And even if no one sees your effort right now, even if no one recognizes your fight, it does not matter. You do not need applause to grow. You need focus. You need persistence. You need the courage to keep building when it is raining, to keep planting seeds in the mud, to keep trusting that what feels like chaos today is creating strength for tomorrow. That is where true leaders are born, not in peace, but in pressure. It is easy to have faith when everything feels right. It is simple to feel motivated when life is easy. But the kind of faith that shifts your future is formed in storms. When everything tells you to quit, but you don't. When it makes no sense to keep moving, but you do. When your heart feels heavy, your mind feels tired, but you keep rising. That is real power. That is purpose. That is proof that you are not just chasing dreams. You are walking in destiny. The storm does not cancel your calling. It confirms it. It tests your readiness. It strips away what cannot come with you into your next chapter. So stop asking for the storm to leave. Start asking for the strength to grow through it. Let it mold you. Let it refine you. Let it shape you into the warrior you were created to be. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of this storm. A version who walks with calm authority. A version who no longer shrinks back, who is no longer afraid of rejection, who no longer questions their worth. That version of you doesn't come from waiting in comfort. That version is born when you stare down the storm and say you chose the wrong one. That version arrives when you stop asking why and start asking what now. So don't waste this season. Don't ignore the lessons it holds. Don't run from the discomfort. Lean into it, learn from it. Let it change you so completely that the old version of you no longer recognizes the new one. This storm will pass, yes, but what it builds in you will last forever. More storms will come. Life will still bring challenges. But if you grow now, you will be ready later. If you learn to find joy in the rain, you will no longer wait for sunshine to be happy. And once you have walked through enough storms, you stop fearing them. You start to recognize what they mean. And you say, this is my moment to rise again. Because it is no longer about avoiding pain. It is about transforming through it. You were not made to stay still and stay safe. You were created to walk through storms and come out wiser, stronger, and more free. And you will, as long as you don't give up. Right now, it might feel like you're barely holding on, like all you can do is survive. But survival is not weakness. Survival is strength. Every breath you take in the middle of pain is a sign of growth. Every time you choose to believe in yourself while everything around you says not to, you are growing. Holding on is growth. Storms are not a sign that you are failing. They are a sign that you are being prepared, that your breakthrough is being built quietly, behind the scenes. And one day, what looked like destruction will be revealed as the foundation for your next level. You are not the storm. You are the one walking through it. You are not a victim of the chaos. You are the calm within it, the strength, the stillness, the presence. You may feel surrounded by darkness right now, but remember this: beautiful things begin in the dark. Seeds grow beneath the soil. Stars shine in the night. And real strength is born in the moments when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when all you have is your grit and your God. So trust this season. Trust that something meaningful is unfolding, even in the mess. Growth is not far away. It is already happening in your tears, in your trials, in your choice to show up anyway. That is what power looks like. That is what purpose feels like. There comes a moment in life when you realize that growth, healing, and success are not only about what you do. They are also about who walks with you, who is standing beside you when things fall apart, who is speaking life into you when your hope is fading, who celebrates your victories and stays through your losses. Not everyone in your circle is there to support your purpose. Some are weeds. They drain your energy. They hide behind smiles while hoping you fall. Then there are warriors, the ones who fight beside you, the ones who believe in your vision even when you are ready to give up. You have to be intentional about who you allow in your space. This is not about judgment. It is about protection. Your purpose is too precious to be surrounded by voices that distract you, diminish you, or discourage you. You were not born to shrink for someone else's comfort. You were born to rise. And rising requires people who will speak strength when you feel weak, who will remind you of your greatness when life tries to bury it. Weeds grow fast. They show up anywhere. They blend in easily. They look harmless, but over time, they choke out everything that matters. They steal your energy. They cloud your clarity. They block your light. That's what toxic people do. They may wear the mask of friendship or family, but their presence drains your spirit. Their words plant fear. Their behavior pulls you backwards. If you are not careful, they will have you doubting your worth, pausing your dreams, and lowering your standards just to keep the peace. But that is not love. That is not loyalty. That is sabotage pretending to be support. You have to be brave enough to do what many people avoid. Cut the weeds, even if they have been around for years, even if they were once important to you. You cannot rise in life if your environment is full of people committed to staying small. Now look at warriors. Warriors don't compete with you. They work with you. They challenge you not to hurt you, but to sharpen you. They correct you not to shame you, but to keep you aligned with your purpose. They do not fuel your excuses. They confront them. They don't cater to your fears. They remind you of your strength. A real warrior friend will see you at your breaking point, and speak life over you. They will stand with you. They will not let you give up. And they will walk through the storm with you, even if no one else notices. Warriors are rare. That's why you have to guard your circle. Because when life gets heavy, and it will, you need people who do not just show up when it is easy. You need people who show up when it's painful, who pray for you when you are silent, who speak hope into you when your faith is fading. That is a warrior circle. Some people love you only when you are easy to love, when you are smiling, successful, and strong. But the ones who love you when you are messy, uncertain, and breaking down, those are the ones you hold close. Warriors are not scared of your darkness. They do not run from your vulnerability. They stay. They lift. They help you fight back. The people around you are either watering your purpose or poisoning your progress. There is no middle ground. You have to choose. Do you want applause from those who keep you small or accountability from those who call you higher? Do you want company that lets you stay comfortable or connection that challenges you to grow? Because you cannot soar if you keep tying your wings to people who are afraid of heights. You were never meant to shrink to fit into tight spaces. You were meant to spread your wings wide. And that means surrounding yourself with people who make space for your growth. Some of the people in your life right now don't want to see you rise. It's not always because they hate you. Sometimes it's because your rising forces them to face their own lack of progress. Your growth exposes their avoidance. Your boldness reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. And rather than rise with you, they will try to pull you down. They will tell you to be more realistic. They will mock your vision. Not because it's weak, but because deep down they know it's strong, and that truth unsettles them. You have to understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some people were only meant for a chapter, not the full story. Holding on to them past their time keeps you trapped in cycles you were meant to outgrow. Loyalty is powerful, but blind loyalty is dangerous. Just because someone walked with you in the past doesn't mean they're equipped for your future. Elevation requires evaluation. You have to stop asking whether someone loves you and start asking if they challenge you, if they support your growth, if they respect your purpose. Because the voices you let speak into your present will shape your future. This is not just about friendships. This is about legacy. You don't reach your full potential by walking alone, but you don't find freedom by walking with the wrong people either. You need alignment, you need truth, and you need the courage to make changes even when it's hard. Growth requires pruning. And yes, pruning is painful, but it's also necessary. One of the hardest truths you'll ever face is realizing some people are only committed to the old version of you. They can't handle the version that is healing, growing, dreaming, and becoming. And that's okay. But if you keep shrinking yourself to keep them close, you'll betray the future you were born for. You weren't put here to manage someone else's insecurities. You have a purpose to fulfill. You have dreams to chase. You have a legacy to build. So build your circle with purpose. Surround yourself with people who see your scars and still respect your strength. People who feel your heart, not just hear your words. Warriors live with integrity. They lead with love. And they never let you forget the power that lives inside you. Energy is contagious. That's not just a phrase, it's a truth. Spend enough time with people who complain, and you'll start to complain. Stay around those who gossip, and you'll start to feed off of that negativity. But walk with warriors, those who speak purpose, those who push through pain, those who fall and still rise, and you'll begin to rise too. Warriors don't seek attention. They don't need a spotlight. Their presence alone shifts the atmosphere. Around them, you'll feel safer, stronger, more grounded, and you'll begin to rise not because you were forced, but because you were inspired. That is the power of your environment. You were not meant to walk this path alone, but you were also never meant to carry dead weight. Every new season of your life demands a new level of you, and with that, a new circle. Don't be afraid to outgrow people. Don't feel guilty for raising your standards. You're not being harsh, you're being clear. And clarity is a form of kindness. This is your life, your calling, your legacy. And who you allow close enough to influence your spirit will shape your story more than you know. Choose people who will walk through battles with you. People who pray when you're silent. People who remind you of your strength when you feel weak. Because when life hits, and it will, you won't just rise alone. You'll rise supported. There's a difference between breathing and living, a difference between surviving and rising. Too many people wake up every day just to make it through, to check boxes, to get by. But you weren't born just to survive. You weren't created to crawl through life waiting for pain to stop. There is power inside of you that the world hasn't even seen yet. There is greatness buried beneath your fear, beneath your fatigue, beneath your wounds. And that greatness is ready to rise. But rising isn't comfortable. It means letting go of survival mode. It means refusing to let trauma write the end of your story. It means saying, yes, I've been through it. Yes, I've been knocked down. But this is not where it ends. That is what rising looks like. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up with purpose. It's about deciding that no matter what yesterday held, today I will take one step toward who I'm meant to be. You've made it through things that could have broken you. Do not overlook that. You've endured heartbreak, betrayal, financial hardship, maybe even the loss of someone you loved more than words can explain. You've survived your own self-doubt, your own sabotage. That matters. That is not weakness. That is proof of your strength, even if you didn't feel strong in the moment. But here's what most people never say. Survival is only the beginning. It's step one. It's where you catch your breath. But after you survive, you face a choice. Will you rebuild? Will you rise? Will you grow? Or will you stay in the same pain simply because it's familiar? Some people hold on to survival like it's their identity. They wear it proudly, and at one point it served them. But if you stay in that space too long, you'll miss the chance to become who you were always meant to be. Because beyond survival is the life you were created to live. Survival feels safe. It feels like control. You keep your guard up. You avoid risk. You avoid deep emotion. And sure, that protects you from pain, but it also keeps you from joy. It keeps you from love. It keeps you from purpose. It keeps you from the version of yourself who doesn't just endure but thrives, who dares, who believes, who chases after something more. You weren't made to go numb. You weren't made just to make it. There is more in you. But to find that more, you have to challenge the beliefs survival mode taught you. Beliefs like staying small is safer. That risk leads to regret. That hope is foolish. You have to face those lies and say with confidence, not anymore. You are not here to stay stuck in what happened. You are here to grow into the strength it built. You are here to become a force shaped by pain, but not defined by it. You've seen people come out of storms glowing, not just alive, but radiant. Not because they were lucky, but because they made a decision. They took their pain and used it. They let it mold them. They decided that if they were still breathing, they were still building. And you have that same strength in you. You might have forgotten it, but it's still there. Somewhere along the way, the world tried to convince you that survival was all you deserved, that healing was impossible, that peace wasn't for people like you. But hear this, your future is not canceled just because your past was hard. You still get to write new chapters. You still get to turn the page. You still get to become someone you've never been. Not in spite of what you've been through, but because of it. Do not let your past become your ceiling. Let it be your floor. Let it be the ground you rise from. Survival mode teaches you to expect loss. It trains you to assume good things are temporary. It tells you not to trust peace. And eventually, that mindset becomes your normal. You start preparing for heartbreak before love arrives. You push opportunities away before they can disappoint you. You reject people before they have the chance to leave. That's not living. That's bracing for loss. And if all you do is prepare to lose, you'll never learn how to win. You've got to retrain your spirit. You've got to teach your soul how to believe again. Believe that you're not cursed. Believe that your best days are ahead. Believe that you're not too late, not too broken, not too far gone. You're just getting started. But starting takes courage. It takes the courage to take a step without knowing the outcome. It takes the courage to forgive yourself. Just a survivor. You are a teacher. You are a warrior. You are a light. Don't let the weight of life make you forget who you are. Just because it's been heavy doesn't mean it's hopeless. Heavy means you've been carrying something. And what you carry can build strength. If you listen closely, every new day is a chance to shift from surviving to rising. Ask yourself the hard questions. Am I just getting by, or am I becoming who I was born to be? Are my habits leading me toward healing, or am I staying small to avoid risk? Am I letting fear make my decisions, or am I stepping out in faith? These are the questions that transform lives, and you deserve to ask them. Because if you don't, you may one day realize you built a life out of fear when you were always meant to build it with faith. Don't let that be your story. Don't let comfort steal your calling. Don't let surviving convince you that thriving is for someone else. Thriving is for you. It always has been. You just needed to remember. The people around you may not understand why you're changing, why you're letting go of your old story, why you're no longer satisfied with just getting by. That's okay. You're not rising for their approval. You're rising because you were born to. You're rising because something inside of you is tired of settling, tired of shrinking, tired of pretending that fine is enough. You're not average. You're not meant to blend in. You were made to rise. And sometimes that rise will be quiet. Sometimes it will be lonely. Sometimes it will be misunderstood. But the view from the top is worth every step it took to get there. So keep climbing, keep building, keep becoming. This isn't just a comeback. This is your awakening. Right now, someone is watching you in silence. They're hoping you don't give up. They're hoping you show them that healing is real, that life after loss still has meaning, that joy can live after pain. Your rise is not just about you. It's about everyone who will find hope in the fact that you kept going, that you didn't let the past write your ending, that you chose to believe in new beginnings. You are the seed, and seeds grow in the dark. You're growing right now, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you can't see it yet. You are becoming something powerful, something steady, something sacred. So do not stop. The world needs the version of you that doesn't just breathe, but burns. No one comes through life untouched. We all carry cuts from betrayal, heartbreak, loss, failure. And those cuts leave scars. Some people hide their scars. They cover them. They numb them. They pretend they don't exist. But that isn't strength. That's avoidance. And avoidance becomes a prison. It keeps you locked inside pain that already happened. But your scars are not something to be ashamed of. They are proof. They say, I've been through something, but I didn't stay there. I healed. I grew. I moved forward. That is power. That is your legacy. Your scars are not ugly. They are not a sign of weakness. They are symbols of survival. They are reminders of grace. They are marks of redemption. Don't let the world silence you. Don't let anyone make you believe that your past disqualifies you. What you think discredits you is actually what makes you unstoppable. What looked like it was breaking you was really building you. Let your scars speak. Let them tell the truth. Not about the pain, but about your strength. Not about the wound, but about your wisdom. Not about what you lost, but about the life that came after. Every scar tells a story, and you get to decide what kind of story it tells. Some people carry their scars like chains. They relive the pain, let it shape their relationships, let it haunt their peace. But others, the ones who choose to rise, carry their scars as evidence. They say, this happened, but it didn't end me. It didn't define me. It made me. That's the difference. The pain you've been through can either hold you back or move you forward. That decision is yours. You don't have to forget what happened. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. But you do have to choose. Will you keep bleeding or will you start leading? Will you stay tied to the moment you broke or will you rise from it and become unbreakable? The scar in your heart is sacred. It's the place where pain once lived, but it no longer controls you. And in that healing, there is a message that someone else needs. Right now, there is someone drowning in the pain you already survived. They need proof that life continues, that hope can return, that joy is not gone forever, and that proof is you. That's why your story matters. That's why your scar matters. You are someone's light in the dark. You are the voice that says, I've been there and I'm still standing. But to be that light, you have to stop hiding your hurt. Stop running from your truth. Look your story in the face and say, you made me wiser. You made me stronger. You made me who I am. That is where healing lives. That is where shame loses its grip. That is where freedom begins. Your scars cannot control you if you choose to carry them with purpose. They only hold power over you when you pretend they don't exist. Some of your wounds might still be fresh. Some might still ache. Maybe you don't even have the words to talk about them yet. That's okay. Healing is not a performance. It's a process. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to feel the pain. But don't unpack your life in that pain. Don't settle in the place where you were broken. You don't owe your wounds a permanent home. You owe yourself movement. You owe yourself freedom. The world may have left you fractured, but your healing is your defiance. Choosing to get better is your quiet revolution. The moment you say, this will not be the end of me, you take back your power. You step into a new space, one where your scars no longer whisper weakness, but declare survival. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to make one choice. I will not be defined by what tried to destroy me. You were not born to live like a victim. You were born to be a vessel of strength. When you let your scars tell your story, you stop pretending. You stop hiding behind perfection. You show up with truth. You show up with vulnerability. And that's where true connection is born, because people don't relate to perfection. They connect through struggle. They're not drawn to the image of a perfect life. They're drawn to honesty. To the person who says, I've been there too. Your scars can be the bridge between isolation and belonging. They say, I've been broken, but I'm not ashamed of it. That kind of truth creates change. It invites others to let go of shame. It breaks cycles. It sets people free. So many of us wear masks to protect ourselves, but healing begins when the mask comes off. When we say, this is who I am, this is what I've faced, and this is how I'm still rising. Letting your scars be seen isn't weakness. It's courage. It's truth. And it doesn't just free you, it frees the people around you too. Too many are living in silence, convinced no one will understand their pain. But silence feeds shame, and shame thrives in the dark. It grows in secrecy. But the moment you speak, the moment you share, shame loses its grip. You say, I won't be controlled by my past anymore. That's when your scars shift from symbols of trauma to symbols of transformation. The pain can't be used against you when you're no longer ashamed of it. The world can't mock what you've already made peace with. So speak, write, create, share your truth. Turn your wounds into something meaningful. That's what people who rise do. They don't stay bitter, they build. They don't wait to be fully healed before they start helping others. They move forward with what they have and trust that purpose will walk with them along the way. You were never meant to be flawless, you were meant to be real, and real people break. But they also rebuild, they rise, they grow. Don't spend your life trying to erase what you've been through. Embrace it, own it, use it. The version of you who made it through your hardest days holds a strength no lesson can teach, no quote can capture. That strength came from pain, from experience, from survival. So stop apologizing, stop shrinking so others can stay comfortable. You didn't survive just to play it safe. You survived so you could live with power, so your life could speak. When someone asks you what shaped you, Show them the scar. Say, this one right here. This is where I almost gave up. But I didn't. That's not weakness. That's legacy. Now think about this. If your scars could speak, what would they say? Would they tell the story of nights you cried but didn't quit? Of the days you wanted to give up but chose to keep going? Of the time you trusted again, even after being betrayed? Your scars are full of truth. They carry strength. And when you stop seeing them as flaws and start seeing them as sacred, everything changes. You stop hiding. You stop playing small. You stop apologizing for who you've become. You start living with boldness, with authenticity, with purpose. You look in the mirror and see resilience, not ruin. You stand taller. You lead with grace. You love with depth. Because those who've been through the fire and found healing, they move through life differently. They see with clearer eyes. They lead with deeper wisdom. And that kind of person cannot be stopped. Nothing the world throws at you can undo who you've already become. You may not be proud of every moment in your past. You may carry regrets. You may have chapters you wish you could skip or rewrite. But even with all of that, you